Alright, and welcome to Dividing by Easy Irrational Expressions. Now, this is going to take the concept that we learned in the last video, and we're going to kind of take it up a notch. We know that we do not want an irrational number in the denominator. We know that that's bad, alright? So, how are we going to take care of that? Well, we're going to multiply by something called the conjugate. So check this out. This is the conjugate of 2 minus the square root of 5. The conjugate is 2 plus the square root of 5. Notice all we did was change the sign in the middle. And if we multiply the bottom by 2 plus the square root of 5, well, we're going to multiply the top by 2 plus the square root of 5. Now from here, and once again, let me go ahead and label this. This is the conjugate. Let's go ahead and see what happens. Okay, we see here that 4 times 2, of course, that distributes top times top, and that will give us 8 plus, and then 4 times the square root of 5 will be 4 square roots of 5 all over. But what about on the bottom? Well, we have 2 times 2, which is 4. We have 2 times the square root of 5, which is plus 2 square roots of 5. We have negative square roots of 5 times 2, which is negative 2 square roots of 5. And we have the negative square root of 5 times the square root of 5, which is the negative square root of 5 squared. Okay? So let's go through and start kind of simplifying this. On the top, we see we have 8 plus 4 square roots of 5 all over 4. And look, plus 2 square roots of 5 minus 2 square roots of 5, our middle terms cancel out. And then over here, we have minus, and the square root of 5 and the square cancel, so minus 5. So this is really the same as saying 8 plus 4 square roots of 5 all over 4 minus 5, which is negative 1. And we know that that negative 1 simply changes the sign of everything on top. Negative 8 minus 4 square roots of 5. And notice we no longer have an irrational number in the denominator. We have rationalized the fraction by multiplying by the conjugate. Alright, let's move on to our second example. Okay, for example 2, we have 9 divided by 3 plus 2 square roots of 6. Now remember here, we want to multiply by the conjugate, which is actually 3 minus 2 square roots of 6. Remember, all we do is just change the sign in the middle, and what we multiply on the bottom, we have to multiply by on the top. And if you will recall, this is what we call the conjugate. Alright? So you must memorize this little trick. Now what happens when we do this? Well, 9 times 3 is 27, and 9 times negative 2 is negative 18 square roots of 6. So here we only multiply by the coefficients. Now on the bottom we have 3 times 3, which we know is 9, and we have 3 times negative 2 square roots of 6. Well, what's 3 times negative 2? That's negative 6 square roots of 6. And we have 2 square roots of 6 times 3, so that's going to be plus 6 square roots of 6. And lastly, and I'm going to have to really squeeze this in, y'all, my apologies, we have 2 square roots of 6 times negative 2 square roots of 6. So 2 times negative 2 will give us negative 4. And then the square root of 6 times the square root of 6 is really the square root of 6 squared. Okay, so I'll kind of bring this out here so we don't have to cramp it down so much. So now I have 27 minus 18 square roots of 6. That will not change on the top. And I have 9. But negative 6 square roots of 6 and positive 6 square roots of 6 will cancel out. And I have negative 4 times the square root of 6 squared, the square root and the square cancel, times 6. Okay, let's go ahead and write one more version of this. We now have 27 minus 18 square roots of 6 all over 9. And what's negative 4 times 6? Well, that's negative 24. And lastly, what's 9 minus 24? Well, when I go ahead and I write this my last time, I have 27 minus 18 square roots of 6 all over 9 minus 24, which should give me negative 15. Now the last thing that I would say is we really don't want this negative on the bottom. So whenever you divide by a negative, what happens is the signs of everything else change. So this positive 27 becomes a negative 27, and this negative 18 becomes a positive 18 square roots of 6 all over positive 15. And there is our answer. There's our answer for example 2. Alright guys, thank you so much, and I'll see y'all in our next video.